Have you ever looked at an older woman and wondered, what is she really thinking? What makes her tick? Why does she behave so differently from younger women? And most importantly, why do so many men, especially married men, completely misunderstand her psychology? If you think you know women, think again. Older women are playing a completely different game, one that most men fail to see until it's too late. They value things differently, they sense things quicker, and they demand things that most men simply can't provide. And if you don't understand these 11 psychological facts, you might just push her away without even realizing it. But don't worry, by the end of this video, you'll see older women in a whole new light. In fact, you might just change the way you approach relationships forever. So stay with me till the end, because missing even one of these points could be the difference between keeping her and losing her. And before we dive in, if you're new here, don't forget to subscribe to Stoic Lifeline TM and hit that like button. It really helps support the channel and bring you more life-changing content. Now let's get started. 1. Older women value emotional connection over looks. Just a second. Consider all of your previous relationships. Are you familiar with the feeling of being totally absorbed by a woman, in her eyes, your charisma, your appearance, and even your way of life? But suddenly, as if something were amiss, her curiosity waned. Why? Because a woman's heart isn't made of stone. This is especially the case when dealing with mature females. When a woman is young, she is still discovering what love is all about. The allure of a reward, her self-assurance, and the physical appeal all work together to pull her in. But as time goes on, she learns that attractiveness isn't everything, that charm isn't always genuine, and that a handsome man isn't always a kind man. Wisdom and experience are what older women want. Not content with only looking nice at their side, they seek a partner who truly comprehends them. So you're still doing it incorrectly. If you think a lady would be interested in you after you flaunt your new hairdo, gym gains, or expensive watch, put yourself in a woman's shoes for a second. When was the last time you listened to her story, really getting what she's saying and feeling what she's saying? Simply said, a woman is more interested in how you make her feel than in how you look. Have you ever been in a relationship where you felt like you were doing everything right, yet your partner still ended the relationship? Someone who you thought couldn't possibly be better than you? That's because she had intense feelings for him that she lacked for you. The harsh reality is that no matter how attractive a man is, a woman will prefer him over him if he can truly understand her. Every single one. No partners. Allotted time. So I want to know, are you trying to make an emotional connection with her? Or are you only hoping she'll be interested in you because of your appearance? 2. Older women can easily sense lies. Have you ever lied to your partner when you were in a relationship? Maybe it was just a little fib to keep the peace. Perhaps it was an embellishment meant to enhance your reputation. Perhaps it was more sinister, a deceit that you hoped she would never uncover. And you know what? It was news to her. She could have disregarded it altogether when she was younger. Perhaps she fooled herself into thinking that her insecurity was causing her to overthink things. Whereas women of a certain age group, nowadays they pay more attention to their gut feelings. After enduring broken relationships, betrayal, and heartache, a woman acquires an innate ability to detect deceit. She has observed males making the same mistakes for a long time. When they're trying to hide anything, she knows exactly how they act. When someone aren't being truthful, she can tell because of the changes in their eyes, speech, and energy. And what's worse, she may not always confront you. She will begin to distance herself instead. At some point, she will begin to question your words. Eventually, she will start making plans to go, and when you wake up, she will be gone. Why is there irony? The majority of males have no idea what they did wrong. They attribute her estrangement to nothing more than a change in her personality. In reality, though, she was aware. So I must inquire, have you ever thought you might deceive a woman using your deceitful ways? Or did she simply quietly depart, realizing she couldn't trust you? 3. They crave appreciation more than gifts. Have you ever thought that if you spend a lot of money on a relationship, she will love you more? Perhaps you treated her to posh restaurants, surprised her with a new piece of jewelry, or even surprised her with a lavish vacation. However, she ultimately decided to depart. While you pondered what went wrong, ladies, I hate to break it to you, but they will forget the presents you gave them. What you did for them emotionally stays with them. An elderly lady? Another material acquisition is not what she desires. The purses, shoes, and flowers were all hers. Wants in her heart? In that instant, she knows she is being viewed. In what time ago did you last look a lady in the eyes and say,
"I am grateful for all you do for me"?
How long has it been since you showed her how much you appreciated her company, rather than just how she improved your life? Until it's too late, most guys don't know this. Their failure to make a good woman feel valued is the real reason they lose a nice woman. Not a lack of money. I have to ask, are you expressing your sincere gratitude? Or are you attempting to manipulate her into loving you? 4. Older women are more open about their desires. Do you remember how awkward it was to have to estimate your girlfriend's wants and needs all the time when you were younger? Like a detective, you had to figure out her hidden meanings by reading her mind and interpreting her contradictory signals. Well, that's just not a game that older women play anymore. It isn't going to be in their schedule. She is quite forthright with her desires. She won't be subtle about her dissatisfaction. Instead, she will tell you how she feels. The majority of males make a mistake here. Why is she being unreasonable, they wonder. In reality, though, she is only being honest. And you're not prepared for a serious relationship. If you interpret her candor for a sign that she needs help, or if you find her transparency challenging, have you ever been in a relationship where the woman was very clear about what she wanted, but you chose to disregard her because you thought she was being overly possessive? If so, you are probably already aware of the story's conclusion. After some time, she departs. Why? Because she has no intention of living a life of extreme poverty. Are you open to a lady who tells it like it is? Or are you hoping for someone to gloss over the facts so you can feel better? 5. They lose patience for drama. Consider your previous romantic partnerships. The arguments that began over insignificant matters are a thing of the past. She may have become angry since you didn't respond quickly enough to her texts. In all likelihood, her accusations against you were baseless. Perhaps she made her dramatic exit because she thought you would go after her, grovel and show your devotion. You even participated at the time. You continued the pattern of fighting and apologizing. Why? Because that was the whole point of love, wasn't it? Enormous fervor, utter disorder. That game is no longer played by older ladies, though. You see, a young lady still has faith in the romantic ideal while she is young. When she sees drama, she feels it shows how much you care. Fights in her mind signify intense feelings. But eventually she finds out the truth. True love, calm prevails. Playing mind games isn't something an elderly woman can handle. She's gone through enough pain to realize that a toxic relationship is more of an emotional addiction than love. In this area, the majority of males fail. Why does she appear distant? They wonder. For some reason, she acts much like younger ladies. It's because she has had enough of the destructive pattern. False arguments will not provoke her. To keep you around, she won't even scream. If you begin to pull away, she will not pursue you. That is terrifying to guys. Simply said, they are accustomed to having a woman advocate on their behalf. They've seen it all before. When things go wrong, ladies cry. Nevertheless, a more senior lady, she would just abandon you if you cause any kind of trouble in her life. I dare you to ask, have you ever attempted to prove your love for a lady by provoking her jealousy in order to avoid being caught? Is she really concerned if I intentionally cause conflict? If that's the case, she's likely already moved on. Reason being, an older woman will not put up with such crap. Peace is more important to her than making a statement. So I must inquire, are you the type of man who can bring tranquility into a woman's life? Or are you firmly entrenched in the rut of constant turmoil? 6. They become more selective about who they love. Have you ever been in a relationship when the lady ended things abruptly? Despite how great it seemed, you two hit it off. And she went so far as to say that she appreciated spending time with you. Strangely, she suddenly began to put some space between herself and others. Sitting there, you couldn't help but wonder, what turned the tide? Where went I awry? The fact is that older women don't experience love quite like younger ones. Chemistry and attraction aren't their only criteria. On compatibility, they focus. Continued reliability. Personal growth. At a younger age, women are more likely to give the incorrect males a chance. She'll have faith in possibilities. Because she believes she can transform a man, she will disregard warning signs. Nevertheless, a more senior lady, before she was burnt, she has been there squandering years on an unprepared man, giving her heart to someone who doesn't cherish. It is a heartache she is familiar with. What happens next? In terms of who she admits, she is merciless. And this is when males become perplexed. But we enjoyed ourselves. They say, it was funny. Our chemistry was fantastic. Yeah, but did she think you were the one for her? You see, an older woman's sense of dignity prevents her from wasting money on a futile endeavor. A man who isn't committed won't get her attention. No one can satisfy her expectations. She will not settle for less. Additionally, this is the point at which the majority of guys fail to retain her. Their plan is to use charm to get inside. Words, short-term efforts, and nice promises are what they think would win her over. However, words no longer impress her. Her eyes follow your every move. She takes note of your reliability. She checks your level of emotional maturity. However, what happens if you are unsuccessful? She disregards it and goes away. Have you ever been in a situation when a lady looked completely enamored with you, only to suddenly lose interest? Perhaps it wasn't due to your lack of physical attractiveness. Perhaps it wasn't due to her dislike of you. That man isn't prepared to give me the affection I deserve. Maybe that's why she found something in you. Also, know that it is not a reflection on your character if an older woman turns you down. That's because she just won't give in. So do you fit her criteria, or are you someone she'd rather not deal with? 7. They are masters of emotional manipulation. This is becoming real. Do you remember a time when you felt completely helpless in a relationship? Where did you begin to dwell on her constantly, even when you wished she would go away? Do you remember instances when you broke your promise to her and did things you normally wouldn't do for a woman? If this sounds familiar, it's likely that the lady you were dealing with was skilled at playing the emotional game. And believe me when I say that older ladies are pros in this field. Why? Reason being, they've been in relationships before. It's all been seen by them. Their manipulation skills are second to none, and they can keep you engrossed until you want nothing more than to be validated by them. Worst of all, they don't do it in the same manner as younger ladies. Attempts at manipulation by younger women sometimes involve passive-aggressive conduct, envy, and dramatic flair, whereas women of a certain age group, they're far less obvious. Even if they're the ones really controlling everything, they'll make you feel like you're in charge. They have a way of keeping their feelings for you under wraps, making you worry that you could be losing them. Their compliments are so irresistible that you can't help but want more. When you're chasing after them, they may play the role of a faraway object just properly, and what's worse, it goes unnoticed by the majority of males. This is the first lady for whom they have ever felt such strong feelings. They just thought, she is essential to me. Yes, but what is the truth? She's teaching you to want her the way she wants you to. And it is here that men succeed or fail. You will be the one to fall into the trap if you are a weak man. She'll be completely in charge as you start pursuing, pleading and showing your devotion. But what about a powerful man? Playing her game is not going to happen. You'll be able to tell what's going on. She's attempting to manipulate you into thinking she needs you more than you need her. It's all part of her test. When you win, that's when. Because when you quit trying to catch them, she begins to appreciate you. I have a question for you. Have you ever had an overwhelming need to be with a lady, despite your knowledge that she was bad for you? Perhaps you weren't very smitten if that was the case. Perhaps you were only captivated by a woman who had a certain way of keeping you enthralled. The one and only means of emancipation. Make yourself known as the guy who refuses to be fooled. 8. They secretly want to feel desired. Have you ever felt the intensity of your love for another person diminish as time passed? She may have been too interested in you at first, sending you texts before anything else, and even holding your hand in public. But gradually, circumstances shifted. She no longer dresses to impress you. A different smile appeared on her face. She seems aloof. Did you ever think, is it me? Is her enthusiasm waning? Older ladies have something that most males don't know. As a result, they could put on an act as if they no longer value attention. They could put on a show of being totally self-reliant and unconcerned with the approval of men. But in my heart, to feel wanted is what they still want. What sets it apart? They are no longer going to plead for it. Do you still love me? That's the question a younger lady may ask. Excuse me, why haven't you been complimenting me lately? Yet a grandma? Little does she know she'll never inquire. She will just go away. First, she'll see whether you pay attention. She's patiently waiting to see if your gaze remains fixed on her in the same manner it did upon first meeting. But what happens if you do poorly on that exam? It won't make her upset. She isn't going to challenge you for your undivided attention. She will only begin to seek for other options. So I must inquire, when was the most recent occasion on which you elicited genuine desire from a woman, with your deeds as well as your words? How about the way you caress her, your gaze at her as if she were the sole female on earth? Just know that if you don't, somebody else will. They have a different definition of love. Recall your earliest experience of falling in love. It seemed like something out of a fairy tale, didn't it? Enthusiasts, butterflies, and late-night messaging to make eternal promises. However, the cracks began to appear. All the reasons. Those letdowns. Being in love isn't a picnic. It's a job. You know, the Hollywood ideal of love is still widely believed by younger women. A meant-to-be bond, extravagant acts of kindness, and impromptu escapades. Whereas women of a certain age group, fairy tales no longer hold any sway over them after what they've gone through. Love now means different things to them. Consistency is more important than pyrotechnics. Reliability, not passion, is the key. For that reason, dating an older lady might be perplexing for many guys. They perceive her as dispassionate, distant, and unimpressible. Except that she isn't. For her, deeds speak louder than words. Your midnight heartfelt messages will go unnoticed by her. Whether you are there when she needs you is of utmost importance to her. Fancy dates aren't important to her. Whether she feels secure enough to open out to you emotionally is important to her. For that reason, you should consider if you are the type of man that offers stability to a woman, or whether you are merely another man trying to sell her a fantasy. Why, in the event that the second comes to pass, her time will be well spent. 10. They start focusing on themselves more than ever. When you were with a lady, did she ever abruptly stop prioritizing you? You were her first focus. She would make an effort to make you happy, text you good morning, and organize her days around your schedule. Yet as time progressed, a shift occurred. She began to prioritize her own needs. She took up working out, hanging out with friends, and pursuing her aspirations. But she stopped paying as much attention to you. Are you worried that she's withdrawing? Is her enthusiasm waning? The truth I will tell you. As they mature, women come to terms with the fact that they have given too much of themselves to other people. For a long time, they prioritized males. Then what? They make their own decisions. When a woman gains her independence, it makes a lot of males feel uneasy. They're accustomed to being her everything. Her habit of prioritizing them is well known to them. The problem is, you will lose her if you attempt to stop her. She is not interested in a man who sees her as his entire universe. She is looking for a partner that is independent and free-spirited, much like herself. Now, I want to know if you would feel threatened if the lady you love suddenly began to prioritize yourself. Do you think it's beautiful, though? Because what good are you when faced with a confident, powerful woman? She'll abandon you, because they know their worth and won't settle for less. Among them, this is the largest. Why do older women differ? They are confident in their abilities and will not sit at a table where they are not appreciated. Let that sink in. A woman's self-esteem is still in her formative years. She asked herself, am I adequate? Is the possibility of his choosing me realistic? Can I change for the sake of keeping him? But when she's an adult, those are queries that she no longer poses. In her own mind, she is adequate. Deserving of being picked, she knows. Nobody will ever make her beg for love, she knows that. Also, this is why the majority of men are unsuccessful while dating women of a certain age. The reason being that males are accustomed to women who constantly seek validation. Nevertheless, a more senior lady, she stays put. She knows from experience that a man will prove his desire for her by taking the lead. She will go without a backward glance if he doesn't. Have you ever been in a relationship where the lady didn't put up a struggle to hold on to you, who just released you without pleading? It wasn't due to her lack of concern, if that's the case. This was due to her self-awareness. She understood that even if you failed to see her value, someone else would. Final thoughts. You have learned the truth about older women, something most guys don't know. Please share your surprise with me by naming one of these facts. Post your thoughts below. Plus, if you found value in this video, hit that like button, subscribe to my channel, and enable alerts for even more impactful insights. That being said, I appreciate you tuning in, and I'll see you later.